He's obviously not the military expert that Mattis is, but what you really need to run the Pentagon is executive expertise and skills. So the fact that he's not a military expert does not mean that he's effective.
Scientists believe the eruption of a volcano triggered a massive tsunami in Indonesia. At least 222 people were killed in the area popular with tourists on this holiday weekend. More than 800 people were injured. The BBC is there.
Electricity is down here. There's no power to these communities, no running water. So people have been taking what they can from the rubble to kind of get through the next few days over Christmas. That will be very tough.
This holiday season, anti-hunger groups want you to think about those around the world in need of food. CBS's Gary Nunn has more.
World hunger again is a growing problem. The organization Bread for the World blames climate change and conflict, saying the trend can be reversed.
It's really time that people got involved and made it a political priority.
Phil Moses of the group Food for the Hungry in Washington, D.C. advises.
Let them know this is a priority for them, not just in terms of humanitarian issues, but for our own well-being in the long run.
Last year, the U.S. government provided nutritional assistance for nearly 23 million children. Gary Nunn, CBS News.
This is CBS News.
To experience relief from muscle cramps in your legs and feet, use TheraWorks Relief Fast-Acting Foam. TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at your local pharmacy or TheraWorksRelief.com. To experience cramps and soreness, use TheraWorks Relief. This fast-acting foam is proved to prevent and relieve foot and leg cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens pharmacies or TheraWorksRelief.com. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. ZipRecruiter posts your job to over 100 job boards with just one click, and then their smart matching technology finds the right candidates. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/CBS News.
It's time to join the millions of people that meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. Zoom gives you flawless video, crystal clear audio, and instant sharing across any mobile, tablet, or desktop device. But the best thing about Zoom? It just works. So join the movement and meet happy with Zoom video conferencing. Visit zoom.us to set up your free account today. That's zoom.us. Zoom video conferencing.
One way to celebrate Christmas, here's CBS's Jim Taylor.
It's a seasonal tradition in the Bavarian mountains. Preparing for Christmas in the small town of Pirzium near Munich, townspeople dress up like monsters. They perform a traditional dance to scare away winter and darkness. The tradition dates back to the pre-Christian era, although experts there disagree on exactly where and when it all started. Jim Taylor, CBS News.
A holiday favorite is celebrating a big birthday. The song Silent Night was born 200 years ago on Christmas Eve, 1818, in the village of Oberndorf near Salzburg, Austria. That's when a parish priest and local school teacher sang it for the first time. It was performed in the U.S. in 1839 near Trinity Church in downtown Manhattan. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Now from the studios of Music, local San Diego's talk and breaking news. This is AM 760.
Sand trapped. That's one of the stories we're following on AM 760. A group of county residents pictures last week stating their opposition to a proposed sand mining operation at the Cottonwood Golf Course. The planned mine is in a residential neighborhood and increase traffic and noise, decreasing local property values. AAA says San Diegans are currently paying an average of $3.39 for a gallon of seltzer regular gasoline. That's 23 cents lower than last night's price at the pump. And City Ballet's production of The Nutcracker will be presented today at the Freckles Theater. We're sponsored by Escondido. In weather, it's partly cloudy and 57 at Lindbergh Field. In sports, the Chargers lost to Baltimore last night, 22-10 at StubHub Center in Carson. AM 760, talk and breaking news.
This holiday season.
Order in the court. AM 760 KFMB presents The Lawyer in Blue Jeans with legal expert lawyers Jeff and Justin Isaac. Their honest, down-to-earth, no-nonsense approach to your legal issues, otherwise known as Blue Jeans Law. The court is in session. Here are Jeff and Justin Isaac.
Welcome everyone to the Lawyer in Blue Jeans show. My name is Justin Isaac, and I am here today solo. The Lawyer in Blue Jeans, he's taking the day off. It's Christmas time, so he's got a lot to do. A lot of cooking, decorating. He actually doesn't decorate all that much. But nonetheless, we have a great show for you. I have a lot to talk about. But if you have something that you want to talk about, give us a call. 1-800-760-KFMB. 1-800-760-5362. Anything that comes to your mind, anything that's related to law. We don't do politics here, but anything legal, yeah, we'll dive into it. We have a few things kind of on the docket today. Holiday decorations and the laws that surround that. Holiday legal news, Fortnite. Some dances were stolen from people from Fortnite stole some dances from people, and they want to get some money out of it. And excuse me. How about inmates and their rights? That's another interesting one too. And also a follow-up to the caller from last week about lawyers and paying bar dues. So let's start off with holiday decorations. Now, I'm sure people, you know about these decoration or these neighborhoods that do these big decoration shows, and Candy Cane Lane out in Poway, Christmas Card Lane in Rancho Penasquitos. There's also a couple other ones like Christmas Circle in Chula Vista, Starlight Circle in Santee, and Nightmare Before Christmas in El Cajon. Now, I went to a couple of these, and it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of people going through them. There's Candy Cane Lane is just down the street from my future in-law's house, and Christmas Card Lane is across the street from my future brother-in-law's house. And there are so many people going throughout the streets. There's kids everywhere. There's people everywhere. There's cars going 2 miles an hour. There's people selling stuff. So there's a lot going on there. And that made me think, because this is how we think as a lawyer. What's the liability if something happens? What is someone gonna, what happens? Who do you sue? Is the city at fault? And I was thinking, I saw some 16, 17-year-olds driving around with people hanging out the moonroof or the sunroof, and also little kids hanging outside of their parents' car. The doors were open on a minivan and just kind of driving through. Now, granted, they're probably going to be okay. However, it just makes me think something's going to happen. There's going to be some incident sometime. And I didn't see any police, which this is fine. And call in again if you've been to any of these places, if you know what I'm talking about. 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. And there's another thing too. There's people selling cookies, popcorn, things like that. And I'm okay with that. Some other people, the city might, eventually get involved and shut them down because they're maybe operating a business without a license. But, who cares? If they're selling hot chocolate and coffee and, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Now, what if someone spills coffee on themselves? They can sue that person, I'm assuming. So it really just depends on the incident. But there's been, there's a lot of legality that would surround in some extreme holiday decorations and, things of that nature too. So I thought it was just interesting because of how crazy it was, especially Christmas Card Lane. There's cars everywhere. There's people darting across the street. There's kids everywhere. It's a little bit of madness, but people get in the festive mood, so I can't really be upset with that either. But I just wonder, hopefully there's never been an incident. Hopefully there never will be an incident, but it's bound to happen with that many people. So, and you also have to wonder, what about the neighbors who don't participate? What are their thoughts about this? What are their, what can they do to possibly stop these excessive Christmas decorations, excessive Christmas lights? And do they have a claim? Do they have a lawsuit available to them? And the answer is yes. And we'll kind of get into that too. There was a couple of interesting cases about this. There was a man who won a religious discrimination suit over his extravagant Christmas display. He had a live nativity scene, camels, caroling, Santa Claus, a live Santa Claus, Coco, and the HOA claimed that the camel violated livestock laws, that he received $6,000 in donations, and that means he was operating a business, and he won. He won $75,000 because the HOA tried to shut him down. And there was a city of Plantation, Florida, sued a couple for their Christmas display, And this Christmas display was over the top. 200,000 lights, a movie screen, snow, 30-foot tall tree, and a Ferris wheel, a mini Ferris wheel for stuffed animals, I guess. And the city spent $420,000 pursuing this case. They claimed that there was a surge in traffic, that it was a public safety issue, and yes, they might have a legitimate claim there. I could definitely see that, but $420,000, and then they lost. So that's got to be kind of a slap in the face. If you're going to go after someone for, well, first of all, you seem like the biggest Scrooge out there. You're going to sue somebody over their Christmas display, and then you spend $400,000 plus on it, and then you lose. But the couple cited religious freedom, property rights, and the right to celebrate a holiday as they see fit. Now, I mean, yes, I could see those arguments, but I don't know. You know, sometimes we have to consider our neighbors too. So, like a typical lawyer, I see both sides of this. This is not a clear-cut issue, but I know that spending over $400,000 on fighting this case to try and shut down their display is ridiculous. There's nothing more ridiculous than that. But, you know, if they really wanted to prosecute them, it sounded like that. It sounds like they have a vendetta against this couple. But again, they sound like a Scrooge too. So there was another, a Phoenix man had a Christmas display of 200,000 lights for the last 30 years. And then he was informed that he couldn't sell hot cocoa to offset the cost of his electricity, because that electricity bill has got to be through the roof, especially if you don't have solar. And then eventually the city did change their mind, and they allowed his display to go back up. Because, you know, that's an interesting argument. You know, should they have to register as a business if you're going to sell hot chocolate? Me personally, no. That's crazy. Let the kids sell their hot chocolate. I bought plenty of hot chocolate and, you know, different things, cookies, and they were selling churros the other day too. Who cares? Let them sell that. That's a crazy reason to kind of shut them down. But what is the legality here? The city definitely has the right to make the rules, but what about the HOA too? HOA has the right to make rules as well. And it all depends on what the CC&R say, the zoning, the local ordinances and regulations. But again, as a private citizen, you have the right to sue civilly. Now, no, of course, suing people isn't very civil all the time. It gets pretty crazy. But a civil lawsuit can be brought against someone for a private nuisance. And if someone substantially and unreasonably interferes with the use and enjoyment of your land, you have a case for a private nuisance. Now, there's other factors that are involved in this too, but this doesn't necessarily mean a physical invasion. This could be anything. It could be lights. It could be a smell. And this is one of the first cases we learned about in law school. So you could have a claim if these lights are glaring into your house and you can't sleep, or if these lights are causing all kinds of traffic and you can't get home. What if there's an emergency? I mean, there has to be a little bit of a give and take here. And, you know, you could see some legitimate claims, and I'm surprised we don't see more of them, because at the same time, you look at it and people don't want to be seen as a Scrooge, or don't want to be seen as someone who is trying to, you know, ruin everyone's fun, but there are legitimate safety issues at hand. And so that's probably why the city tries to shut some of them down, because some of them are pretty bad. But the city of San Diego, and I've been looking to see if this is still in effect, but we used to have a law that if your lights were still up past February 2nd, $250 fine. That's kind of crazy to me too, but really, who's it hurting, except for your electric bill? But I think they were handing out fines a while back, $250 for every person who doesn't take their lights down after February 2nd. Now, I don't think the city's as cash-strapped as they used to be, but hey, you know, $250 is $250, and that adds up, definitely. So, I don't know. What do you think about it? 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. Do you have a neighbor who has a crazy lights display? Does it bother you? Or are you that neighbor? Give us a call, weigh in on this. We have a couple other things coming up on the other side of the break, because we do have to go to our first break here. But we're going to be talking about some legal news, like should Amazon be held liable for someone buying a defective hoverboard? Or what about Christmas music as cruel and unusual punishment? Let's talk about that And then after that, we're going to be talking about the lawyers being forced to pay bar dues, probably at the third segment. But this is the Lawyer Blue Jeans Show. My name is Attorney Justin Isaac. We'll be back right after this.
Sure, talk about law, life, and everything in between. Check us out on Sundays from 9 to 10 on 760 KFMB. And by the way, what I do and what we do in our law group is proactive law. Let's get the government out of our life and you be in charge of yours. We have seminars, one more set of seminars coming up in December, but if not, go to our office.
How's my voice?
Sounds good. Got a little cold.
Yeah, dude, I sound like shit.
Yeah, I got that same issue. I sound much better today.
Tell me about business.
Yeah, I've been dreading this, and I've been choking down these cough drops, so hopefully it's not too bad.
Nah, it's not.
Hey, can you turn off the microphones during the commercial break and just air commercials? I know we switched it before, but we'll just go back to only commercials.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Let me make sure. I think that's how I had it set.
Okay.
Palomar Solar, and experience why major brands like Goodwill San Diego and Waxy have chosen Palomar Solar in addition to thousands of residential customers. If you're tired of pushy solar sales reps, tired of all the made-up discounts and gimmicks, and just want the truth as to whether or not solar is a good investment for your business, church, or family, call the local name you can trust and get ahead of next year's solar rush. Call Palomar Solar at 760-504-0388. That's 760-504-0388, or visit palomarsolar.com.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $150, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-500-0898. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away. So you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. Plus, you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll write you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-500-0898. That's 1-800-500-0898. 1-800-500-0898.
And New Replacement Windows is ready to help you welcome friends and family for the holidays, and you save $200 off the MSRP on more energy-efficient Milgard vinyl windows when you purchase 5 or more, and $500 off the MSRP on Milgard vinyl patio doors. This offer can't be combined with any other offer, and it ends December 31st. And you know 100% lifetime warranty on labor and on all Milgard products. Go to NewmanWindows.com for some great before and after pictures. NewmanWindows.com, license number 570472. If you're looking for the pros to get your windows, call 8777.
I'm Angie Lee. I'm Eric Connor. Monday on News 8 this morning. Gifts and giveaways, what to expect if you're waiting until the last minute to get things done.
Plus, we're going to play some reindeer games and raise money for some dogs and cats in need.
All the latest breaking news, up to the minute traffic, and your Christmas forecast. Monday on News 8 this morning from 4:30 to 7. Then switch to the CW for News 8 Morning Extra, 7 to 9 a.m.
On Daily Blast Live, we're not afraid to say what's on our minds.
This is a culture that has been propagated by Hollywood.
I totally disagree with my co-host.
From the hot trending topics
We are following what could be a bombshell.
to what's cool in pop culture,
Real. This makes me really not like Chrissy Teigen right now.
nothing's off limits on Daily Blast Live.
Keep believing it's okay and keep letting the heads roll. I'm so happy we're just having
Weekdays at noon on the CW San Diego.
AM 760 KFMB. Back to the Lawyer in Blue Jeans on AM 760 KFMB.
Welcome back to the Lawyer in Blue Jeans Show. My name is Attorney Justin Isaac, and again, I am riding solo today. It is just me. Sorry about that. Well, no. I've been told I'm all right. Now, we're going to talk about a couple more things here. We talked about that first segment. We talked about Candy Cane Lane, Christmas Card Lane, and some of the legality that might come with that. But if you want to weigh in, 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was Amazon. Now, there was a case that came through. A couple bought one of those hoverboards. I'm sure you guys have seen those around where you just stand on it and you lean forward and it just zooms around, or you lean back and it goes backwards. I'm sure everyone's seen those videos of people falling and they're hilarious. But apparently there was someone who bought a hoverboard from Amazon, or through Amazon, I should add. In 2015, the hoverboard caught fire while the dad, son, and daughter were home. They escaped through a window because the fire was so bad, and the fire burned down their house. It's a 4,000 square foot house. It was over $1 million. So they sued Amazon. The reason that they sued Amazon was they didn't know who manufactured the actual hoverboard. So what do? You sue the biggest person involved, the biggest player. This is the first thing they teach us in law school, is you always go for whoever has the deepest pockets. And so they go after Amazon. They sued Amazon for $30 million. And there's probably some, pain and suffering. Excuse me. And, that made me think, well, is Amazon at fault? Can Amazon be sued for something like this? And the answer is no, not really. They're just a marketplace. You go to Amazon to buy things. You don't go... Amazon's not creating the product. Amazon doesn't stamp their approval on a product. So what do? They couldn't sue the manufacturer, but Amazon did cover themselves, apparently, by sending out an email warning of the dangers of that product. And you know what? That probably saved them, because you could say that Amazon is a little bit responsible, but again, on the other side, as an attorney, we go back and forth. If you have a product that's being sold through a marketplace, you can't really infer liability on the website, because that's all they're doing is they're facilitating this product to someone. They're not, again, stamping their approval. They're not creating the product. So why should they be held liable? And that's what the courts found too. They dismissed the case. And I think that's the right call. Even though I obviously feel bad that this family lost their home, I would hope that they would have some kind of homeowner's insurance or some kind of policy to protect them. But, and obviously, some health insurance too, because they apparently suffered some injuries, stitches, fractures, nerve damage. Sounds pretty bad. And that's probably because they had to jump through the window. But at the same time, Amazon's not really responsible, in my opinion, because they didn't create the product. So, I don't know. Is anyone familiar with Joe Arpaio? He's a pretty, controversial person. He was the former sheriff of the Maricopa County, and he was also in the news a lot, over some of the things that he would do. He would make his prisoners wear pink jumpsuits, kind of to embarrass them, but also because he liked it. He used to play Christmas music nonstop, 12 hours a day or more, and so a bunch of prisoners brought a suit claiming violation of their 8th Amendment right. That's the right against cruel and unusual punishment. And the judge disagreed and dismissed the claims. So, do you think that's cruel and unusual punishment? Playing Christmas music 12 hours a day? I kind of think it is. Because after a couple of weeks of Christmas music, I think, yeah, that's pretty cruel, and I don't want to hear it all the time. It kind of gets to you. You don't want to hear it too often. But, for 3 weeks, you're like, okay, yeah, it's Christmas music, it's Christmas time, that's fine. But for 12 hours a day, ooh, that would really, really get me, especially if you had no control over it too. So, looks like we do have a call. We have Rick in San Diego. Rick wanting to comment on the Amazon topic. Rick, how you doing? Good, thank you. That's true. I agree with you on that sense that they should have record of who the manufacturer of the product is, but for the actual product itself, they shouldn't have liability for it. Now, Amazon probably protected themselves with that statement, that email, or that letter that they sent that said that these hoverboards are probably defective and they have a potential for fire. But I agree with you on the sense that they should have some kind of record, because really for their own internal business practices, it would be important for them to be able to point someone else. Like if a lawsuit comes about, if I'm Amazon, I don't want responsibility. I don't want to be sued. So let me tell them who the manufacturer is so I can get out of it. That would be my goal too. So I completely agree with you. But for the product, I don't think that they should be liable. Yeah, that is true. I agree with you on that. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And that would, even legality aside, that would just be the smart and prudent thing to do, because if you're a business, you obviously want to absolve yourself of any liability that might come about. So that would be the best way to do it. These are the people who manufactured it. These are the people who you can hold responsible. We are just the marketplace. And Amazon, they have some pretty high-paid lawyers. I'm sure they were able to get out of this somewhat easily. But at the same time, they should be somewhat responsible for at least pointing us in the right direction of who we should sue. So I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. I just don't know if that they're required to divulge that, because that might be, and they probably would be, now that I think about it, if we're going to go to a lawsuit. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. And when it comes to health and safety of individuals, then there's a higher threshold when, as opposed to just buying like, a book or something like that. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. Thank you for calling in, Rick. Are you doing anything fun for the holidays? Well, thank you for calling in regardless, and hope you have a great weekend. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you. All right, so yeah, I agree with Rick. I don't disagree at all. I think that Amazon should be responsible, or should give out information if they're brought into a lawsuit. Now, I don't know if they did or didn't, and why they wouldn't divulge that information unless it's some kind of, secret. But wow, already flying through. On to the second break. So this is the Lawyer in Blue Jeans show. We're gonna be talking about that Arizona jail cruel and unusual punishment when we come back. Also Fortnite and some other things too. We'll be back right after this.
Sundays from 9 to 10 on 760 KFMB. And by the way, what I do and what we do in our group is proactive law. Let's get the government out of the and you be in charge of yours. We have seminars, one more set of seminars coming up in December, but if not, go to our office, check us out online at lawyerinbluejeans.com, give us a call. We can talk about estate planning that'll help you get control.
San Diego's largest independently owned and operated transmission specialty. Rapid Transmissions has been serving San Diego for over 45 years. Businesses trust Rapid because of their experience. They provide the best quality parts and workmanship at the most affordable prices. Take advantage of their free external diagnosis. Rapid has 3 convenient locations to serve all of San Diego. 800-562-7675, 800-562-7675, or rapidtransmissions.com. That's rapidtransmissions.com.
Guys, who got my name for Secret Santa?
Secret Santa is supposed to be secret, Charlie.
Well, whoever you are, thank you. In the parking lot.
month, there's a beautiful new Lexus, which means my Secret Santa read my note that said, I won a beautiful new Lexus from the December to Remember sales event at Lexus Carlsbad and Lexus Escondido.
You think someone bought you a Lexus?
I thought we had a $10 gift limit.
Well, someone went to Lexus Carlsbad and Lexus Escondido. You know they have twice the selection of new Lexuses in San Diego County.
Lexus is not a word.
Martha, Lexus is two a word. I'm gonna go take a selfie with my new Lexus.
I probably should tell him that's my new Lexus from Lexus Carlsbad and Lexus Escondido.
Hi, everybody!
Gee, I wonder what he's really getting.
Lilac scented soap on roof.
I got a new Lexus!
Probably gonna be a bit disappointed.
Woohoo!
Save today on the largest selection of Lexus ES, NX, and RX models at Lexus Carlsbad and Lexus Escondido. See specials online at LexusCarlsbad.com or LexusEscondido.com.
The Maricel Design and Remodeling family believes there's no place quite like home for the holidays. We've been helping San Diegans celebrate the season for more than 35 years. Here are Gary Maricel and Tom Capizzi, co-owners of Maricel Design and Remodeling.
Hi, I'm Gary Maricel. At the holidays, there's nothing more special than enjoying all the comforts of home and the true blessings of family and good friends. Through the years, we've had the privilege of getting to know families throughout San Diego. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish each of you the very best for the holidays, health and happiness in the new year.
I'm Tom Capizzi. On behalf of Gary and the entire Maricel team, I'd also like to wish you all a great holiday celebration and the best for the coming year. We consider it an honor that we've helped make so many homes a place where families gather and create memorable moments with one another year after year. Thank you so much for continuing to trust your home to us.
Maricel Design and Remodeling, making the most of your home for the holidays and every day of the year. You can trust your home to us.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. Right now, get your first month supply for free. All you pay is just $5 for your medical consultation when you go to 4hims.com/doctor. After that, it's just $30 for a month's supply. Sure beats paying big bucks for just one blue pill, doesn't it? Plus, you won't need an awkward in-person doctor's appointment to get the prescription. Hims has doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. It's affordable, private, and incredibly easy. Nobody likes dealing with ED. Now, thanks to Hims, nobody has to. And that's really good news. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/doctor. That's 4hims.com/doctor for your first month for just $5. 4hims.com/doctor.
See website for full details. Now all services through the Hims platform are available in all 50 states.
CBS News Update. White House officials say it's likely the partial government shutdown will drag into 2019. The stalemate is all about border security. President Trump wants billions for a wall. Democrats are offering less for border security. White House Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney on the negotiations.
We've been talking to Mr. Schumer, the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. The bill right now is in the Senate. The ball is in the Senate's court. Of course, keep in mind, any bill that comes out of the Senate on this topic will have to have 60 votes, so they'll have to have Democrat support. But I certainly think that the Speaker's dynamic is in play here.
Tennessee Republican Senator Bob Corker on CNN.
The government is shut down over what ultimately is going to be $2 billion. This is a made-up fight so the president can look like he's fighting, but even if he wins, our borders are going to be insecure.
The budget showdown involves 25% of government funding. CBS News Update, I'm Wendy Gillette.
From the studios of News 8, live, local, San Diego's talk and breaking news. This is AM 760.
A man is attacked with a frying pan by his roommate. That's one of the stories we're following on AM 760. Police say the incident occurred Thursday in an independent living facility on Naranka Avenue in El Cajon. The roommates were heard arguing prior to the assault. Officers found the victim with multiple injuries to his face and head. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. This woman who lives near the facility is on edge.
Okay. What if one day, I answer the wrong thing and they go after me?
Police arrested 24-year-old Brad Payton in connection with the attack. Father Joe's Villages will host a Christmas Eve holiday dinner for 300 homeless residents. And the Holiday Magic Art Exhibition continues at the Spanish Village Art Center. We're sponsored by Honey Baked Ham. This Christmas, come home with Honey Baked Ham. It's easier than ever with speedier service and longer store hours. To order online or find a nearby store, go to shophoneyBaked.com. And weather is fair and 57 in Lindbergh Field. AM 760, talk.
Welcome back to the Lawyer in Blue Jeans show. My name is attorney Justin Isaac, and we are playing Christmas music all the time. Just like what we were talking about, 12 hours straight, but no cruel and unusual punishment. I thought that was interesting. And of course, call in if you disagree with me, but 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. We briefly talked about it, but you know, the sheriff of Maricopa County in Arizona was sued because he was making prisoners listen to Christmas music 12 hours a day. And they claimed that was a violation of their 8th Amendment right against cruel and unusual punishment. But they might have been more successful if it was a claim against religious discrimination. Because the First Amendment says that we can't establish any religion of the United States, and for them to only play Christmas music, yeah, that's a pretty good claim, I'd say, to get that Christmas music stopped. Because I don't know if they're playing, and I doubt they were, any Jewish music or any other holidays too. But 8th Amendment challenge, yeah, probably not cruel and unusual punishment. Depends on how much you like Christmas music. But if you were to challenge it based on religious freedom, I think you had a much better case for something like that. So it brought up another kind of thought too. A lot of people don't know how many rights prisoners have. And granted, they should. They're still, citizens, and I think that might be an unpopular opinion for some people. Some people think that, well, they made their decisions, they're in jail, and they shouldn't have certain rights. And to a certain extent, I would agree. Because I think that when you there's a show, I don't know if anyone's ever watched this, it's called Love After Lockup, and I'm going to say, yes, I have watched it on more than one occasion. My fiance loves it. It is about people who meet inmates online and then start relationships with them. Now, this is a new thing for online dating is a new thing for most people. It is something that's come up in the last, however, 5, 10, 12 years or something like that. However, I didn't know you could be an inmate and get on the internet. I didn't know how that's possible. I didn't know they had the right to do that. And I don't know if I think they should. Should they really have the right to go on the internet? I mean, it's supposed to be prison. So, I don't know. What do you think? 1-800-760-KFMB, 1-800-760-5362. Do you think prisoners should have the right to use the internet? Now, I can understand them being able to go online, or not to go online, to use the library, to research, to look up laws and how to maybe get themselves out if they feel like they're wrongfully convicted. Yeah, totally understand that. And should they be able to use a phone to call people every once in a while or have visitation rights? Yeah. But should they be able to use the internet to find love? I don't know. What else are they able to use the internet for? That's what I really get to, is that doesn't make much sense to me. Prisoners do have rights, though. They have the right, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, just like I talked about. They still have those rights because as a citizen, those rights, we can't take those away. There are certain situations where they're not absolute, of course, but, they still have the right that people are afforded even if they weren't in prison. But there's other cases that have come about where someone's sued because they didn't have enough kosher options in the prison food. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I kind of see the religious discrimination argument, but at the same time, I've heard other people say, then don't go to prison. Yeah, I kind of see that too. These are difficult questions. These are difficult things you can't just say universally black and white, this is what it is, and that's totally right or that's totally wrong. I think that it really just depends. And we're not going to go into this because this might get a little too close to political, but there was someone who went into prison, sued the prison to have a gender reassignment surgery, and won. And the state, we had to pay for it. I don't think it was California. It might have been California. But that to me was a little bit much. I don't know if we should be paying for that. Why? And the state claimed, well, it seems like they went to only try and do this after they were imprisoned because they didn't want to pay for it. And that's a valid argument, I think, too. But okay, so we'll kind of stick away from that. But there was one that I saw that was very interesting. There was a prisoner in Missouri who sued because he was getting secondhand smoke. There was other prisoners who were smoking around him, and he didn't like it because, you know, secondhand smoke is pretty bad. It's not good for you, obviously. So he sued, and he won, and now all Missouri prisons, you cannot smoke. So that made me think right away, wow, he has to be the most unpopular prisoner in that prison, in the whole prison system, because anyone who used to smoke can't smoke anymore because of him. He's a very unpopular person, and well, he's also in prison for double murder, but I don't know if that's going to affect your popularity or not. But I thought that was interesting, though. His lawsuit completely changed how the prisoners were able to go about their life. So pretty interesting, though. Okay, so last week, let's transition a little bit. Oh, actually, before we get to that, Fortnite. I don't know if anyone knows what Fortnite is. It's a very popular game. My nephew just showed it to me the other day. It's crazy. I don't get it exactly, but I know it's very popular. There's a lot of things involved in it. There's all kinds of dances that you can earn credits for and make money, and I don't know exactly. But there's a few people who are suing Fortnite because they feel like the game has taken their dance, their likeness from them. So Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Alfonso Ribery, I think his name is, he is known for the Carlton. And Fortnite had a game called, or had a dance that was basically his dance, and it was called the Fresh, I believe, which, you know, pretty close to Fresh Prince. So Carlton, Alfonso, he actually hosts America's Funniest Home Videos now. He sued the game because he's not getting any money from Fortnite, and Fortnite is profiting from him. And if you see this dance, you'll know exactly who it is. And there's also the backpack kid, the floss dance. I'm sure you've seen kids all over the place doing this dance as well too. I'm not a huge fan. But the Fortnite is being sued based on that because they are having these dances on their game that people can pay for. And there's a quantifiable amount that they've made that they've been sued. So I have a feeling that they're going to have to pay out. So it is a video game, but there's dances, you know, all over the place throughout the game. I don't really get it personally. Maybe I'm showing my age here too, but I don't think many 16-year-olds or 18-year-olds or whoever plays the game is really listening right now. So I'm probably safe on that. But so I don't know. Anyways, moving on. We are going to be going into our third break here in a second, but I forgot to say happy Festivus to everyone. If you like Seinfeld, and I'm sure you know on this show we love Seinfeld, it is today. And Festivus for the rest of us. We have the... so we're not going to get into that. No Seinfeld law today. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the case that was mentioned last week where do lawyers have to pay bar dues? Is that a violation of their free speech, freedom of association? So we're going to do a follow-up on that, and as it relates to another case that just came through. So we are going to our last break here on this Christmas Eve. More Christmas music for you. And we'll be back right after this.
Symptomatic of something that could be a lot more serious. Sleep apnea. When you're sleeping and you starve your brain of vital oxygen, and it puts you at a much higher risk for heart attack and diabetes and high blood pressure and stroke. My dad had a stroke because of his sleep apnea, and that's why I went to go get checked out. And I have sleep apnea too, which is why I wear this mouth guard every night, taking no chances. And my sleep apnea is gone, and my snoring is gone, so my wife's happy too. Dr. Aniso, Dr. Henniger, they're wonderful. Here's another patient. I'm sharp again, alert, and my energy is excellent. It's just a night and day difference. I couldn't be happier recommending West Coast Sleep Solutions to people to treat their snoring. So if you snore, if the person next to you snores a lot, could be a sign of something worse. So go to West Coast Sleep Solutions, first consultation free, 888-GO-SLEEP. And they'll help out with all your insurance and Medicare and all that, answer all your questions. 888-GO-SLEEP, 888-GO-SLEEP.
So how do Honda sedans compare to Santa's sleigh? The Honda Civic and Accord come with advanced Honda sensing technology standard. Santa's sleigh has Rudolph, quite possibly the cutest safety system ever. So advantage Santa. But during the Happy Honda Days sales event, only Honda has incredible deals and special factory financing on our most popular sedans. So hurry to your San Diego Honda dealers.
There's no place like home for the holidays. Here are Gary Marical and Tom Capizzi, co-owners of Marical Design and Remodeling.
At the holidays, there's nothing more special than enjoying all the comforts of home. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish each of you the very best for the holidays, health and happiness in the new year.
We consider it an honor that we've helped make so many homes a place where families gather and create memorable moments with one another year after year. Thank you so much for continuing to trust your home to us.
Happy holidays from Marical Design and Remodeling.
Visit Brent Wilsey, president of Wilsey Asset Management and host of the Smart Investing Show on Saturday mornings. Are you concerned with the height of the market? Maybe you're not getting the investment returns you would like, or maybe you never hear from your broker. At Wilsey Asset Management, we use a proven strategy for investing, delivers good returns and lower risk. We'd love to share with you what has worked for nearly 100 years. When you come in, you won't be meeting with some new broker. No, you'll be meeting with me and my son Chase, and I have been in the finance world for nearly 40 years. I hope you'll consider taking the time to learn about this time-proven investment method. I promise you, after the time you spend with us, you'll walk out of the office knowing more than when you came in. Don't worry about any high-pressure sales tactics. We don't use them. We just have an enjoyable conversation about investing. Call the office, 858-546-4306. That's 858-546-4306 for your free consultation. Or visit the website, smartinvesting2000.com.
Growing up in Kentucky, my mom had a business that helped cancer patients. One of the best lessons she taught me about business was that if you take care of the people who come through your door and always do the right thing, you will never be out of people to take care of. Adam here from Palomar Solar. This simple lesson is one of the main reasons Palomar Solar has continued to grow year over year, all while maintaining an excellent reputation. If you appreciate a handshake that means something, call Palomar Solar and experience why major brands like Goodwill San Diego and Waxy have chosen Palomar Solar in addition to thousands of residential customers. If you're tired of pushy solar sales reps, tired of all the made-up discounts and gimmicks, and just want the truth as to whether or not solar is a good investment for your business, church, or family, call the local name you can trust and get ahead of next year's solar rush. Call Palomar Solar at 760-504-0388. That's 760-504-0388, or visit palomarsolar.com.
AM 760 KFMB. Order! Order in the court! AM 7.
Right as I was playing that, the intro disappeared, so here we go.
Welcome back to the Lawyer in Blue Jeans Show. My name is Justin Isaac. I am going solo today, no Lawyer in Blue Jeans, but not to worry. We have plenty of good information. This hour has flown by, so I have to touch on a couple of things here. We are filling in for Brent Winterbull on January 3rd and 4th on his show from 3 to 6. So please listen in. Call if you have questions. We're gonna have a couple of people on there, some good guests. Where I think we're gonna be talking about CBD and the recent legislation, and maybe even having a CBD attorney on, which I think will be interesting. Maybe answer some of your questions. But speaking of attorneys, last week we had a caller who was asking about the Supreme Court case Janus, which was a case that the Supreme Court struck down state laws that required teachers and other public employees to pay fees to support a union if they don't want to. And, you know, I think that's the right case, or the right holding. I don't think that we should be forced to join into something that we don't want to do. We have the freedom of association under the First Amendment, and I think that's a very important thing to hold. We should not compel people or force people to join things that they don't want to. Now, if you're still receiving some benefit from that and you're enjoying that benefit or you're taking advantage of it, yeah, you should pay your fees for that, of course. But if you don't want to take advantage of it and you don't want to be a part of the union, I don't think you should. That's pure and simple. That's part of the American bedrock that we have the right to do kind of whatever we want to do in a lot of places. This is one of them. If we don't want to join a group, we shouldn't have to join a group. So recently, the caller from last week was asking about the case where a lawyer was suing the, excuse me, in North Dakota. There was an attorney suing because he didn't want to pay his bar dues. And he basically went to the 8th Circuit, and the 8th Circuit said that he had to pay him still. And bar dues are, this is something every lawyer has to pay as of right now, because it goes towards regulating the legal profession. And the legal profession does need regulation, of course. There's a lot of lawyer jokes out there. There's a lot of bad attorneys too. But we need to make sure that people are protected, and if they have a claim against an attorney, then they have some kind of recourse. And I think it is a valuable thing. However, we are forced to pay these dues, and I don't know if that's appropriate. And I think the Supreme Court actually kind of agrees. Supreme Court said that they are going to vacate the decision that this North Dakota attorney received from the 8th Circuit. And so the Supreme Court very, very quickly and briefly did not give an opinion. It just vacated the decision and said, go back to the 8th Circuit and figure it out according to the new case of Janus, which was you can't be compelled to pay those dues if you don't want to. And the attorney who was originally trying to not pay these dues wasn't because he didn't want to pay the money. It's just that he didn't want to be associated with some of the things that the bar were involved in, including politics, some political things. And of course, I think that's a great call. If you don't want to be involved in something that you might not see eye to eye with politically, then you definitely should not have to pay for something like that, especially being forced. So that was kind of the issue. Now it's going to go back to the 8th Circuit. I have a feeling that they're going to say bar dues won't be required for private organizations. So the rulings were before, and the law was before, is that you did have to pay bar dues for a private bar. And the bar is usually a private organization, but it's not in California. So this is different. So on the actual website, it says the State Bar of California is an administrative arm of the California Supreme Court. So this isn't a private organization here. So we might actually, this probably won't apply to us because this is a public organization. This is something that we have to, so we're basically funding the regulation of the bar. And the challenge actually that the attorney in North Dakota brought was, he said it was regarding the forced subsidies of private bars, not the forced payment to cover the cost of state regulators, which is an interesting distinction because, we, like I was saying, we should not be compelled to support private organizations. That's crazy. That's against the founding principles of this state. But I think that in California, since this is a part of the Supreme Court, I don't think we're going to get out of that one. And there's a lot of fees that we have to pay as an attorney. There's, I think it's like $500 a year to take the bar. It was $1,000 for every time you wanted to take the bar. You have to register your computer. If I want to use my computer, if I wanted to write the bar, the questions, the answers, it would be about $500 or $600 less. But since I wanted to use my computer and type, I had to pay $500 or $600 more. Now, this is a wise investment because I would have never passed the bar with my handwriting. It's pretty bad. But, the fees do add up. And then we also have to, as California attorneys, we have to maintain our legal knowledge every 3 years with some continuing education. And I think that's probably good too, because attorneys, sometimes we can kind of get laxed in what we know, and keeping up to date with it would be, it's probably good for everybody in that sense. So I don't know, it's going to be interesting. And I think that I don't think it's going to affect us that much here in California. I just think that it's going to be one of those small state kind of things because, other bars are very different and other states have a lot of different rules when it comes to being an attorney. And that's why most attorneys only take one bar. I'm only licensed in California, and most people I know are only licensed in California. So I don't know. We'll see what comes of that. So I guess last, we had a drone scare out in England, and I thought that was pretty interesting too. So there was someone who was flying a drone over Gatwick Airport in London, and they couldn't find him for 32 hours. The airport was shut down. 110,000 people were affected by this. And I thought that was pretty bad because there are some rules regarding a drone. This is obviously something that, it can be a nuisance. And in California, you need to have a license if you're or to register your drone if you're gonna do it just as a hobby. And you can be liable for a misdemeanor if you interfere or impede the activities of a first responder. This was kind of a big thing during the fires a couple of years ago, where someone was flying a drone in and about the tankers that were trying to drop off water. That person definitely was committing a crime. That is, you can't do that. It's like blocking a fire truck. And that's a potential hazard to people who are trying to get their home safe too. So, not only that, but you're kind of a jerk if you're if you're doing that, because these tankers don't know what that is, and there's all kinds of security issues, and people are like, oh, is this terrorism? So there are some laws, and you should have to know what you're doing when you're operating this. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting, and some of the rules and regulations regarding drones. But this hour has flown by. We are Lawyer and Blue Jeans Show. It's Christmas Eve. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, Justin at lawyerandbluejeans.com, or go to lawyerandbluejeans.com for more information about us. We are going to be back next year, making a priority your estate plan, planning your estate, protecting your family. These should be your New Year's resolutions. And we're going to talk more about it next week. Make sure you just give us a call if you have any questions. We'll be doing seminars again next year. But this was the Lawyer and Blue Jeans Show. Thank you all for listening. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week.
Oh. Toyota Carlsbad Express purchase online. Toyota Carlsbad will deliver it right to his driveway. We don't even have to get involved here. Oh, thank goodness. Toyota Carlsbad Express purchase. Bob just bought online from the comfort of his home and even calculated payments that work within his budget. So we don't have to haul Toyotas around? Only presents? Got it, big bearded guy.